Hey guys, I wanted to do a really quick video today. This is a pretty special knife, and I was actually finally able to get it to work today. After 2 years of fiddling with it, I finally have a Mark 12. First off, let me apologize. It's been a while since I've done a video. I know nobody really likes to hear YouTubers complain about how they don't have any time to do videos, but I have been genuinely busy. I've been trying to make this knife business work, and because of that I haven't had that much time to really sit down and decompress and be myself. But finally I wanted to do just a little bit of a narrated talking video, talk a little bit about this knife, what it represents to me personally. This is the 7th Mark 12 ever made. I only ever made 6 of these back in 2012. And this was my first folding knife design. Now what's going to make this so unique is the fact that this is an integral frame lock. This has a one-piece titanium handle, which, for those of you who know, this is an extremely difficult task to achieve. Even more so when you have a mill like a Tormach PCNC 1100, which is not necessarily known for being the most precise thing in the world. These knives were so complicated and so tough to make that I only ever made a few. And because of that, they are extremely rare. If you're looking for a moon knife, this is the rarest folding knife that I make. Like I said, only about 6 of these ever produced. This one here is the 7th, and I'm still contemplating whether or not I should actually put it in private hands and go ahead and sell it. Like I said, this does represent something very special to me. In 2012, I'd kind of come off of some bad press with the Orions. The Balisongs used a pin system on the inside, which at the time that I designed it, I thought they were unique, but as it turns out, Todd Begg had a very similar idea, and we were using essentially the same pin system. So there were some people who were alleging that I stole the technology from Todd. Actually, that's complete BS, because when I found out, I went to Todd. I actually got a signed document from him saying I could use the pin system, and part of the agreement was I would never make the Orions again. So I made one run of Orions. There were 25 of those, and then I discontinued the model. I won't make any more. And I also put his name on the advertisement. I used a Begg pin system, essentially. Now they differed slightly on the inside, but the idea is essentially the same. So I wanted to give Todd the credit where credit was due. So he was really cool about it, and I thought that Todd was very honorable about the way that he did go about it, and I've got nothing bad to say about that transaction between him and I. But unfortunately, there were still some people who believed that it was a stolen piece of technology, and it was a tarnishing thing with my name. However, what I did after the Orions was I decided I wanted to make a folding tactical knife, and this was what I came up with. So bear in mind, this is my first attempt at designing a folding tactical knife. You'll obviously see the resemblance between this and the Mark 6. The Mark 6 was basically designed to be half as expensive, take half as much time to make, and be basically a Mark 12, but not an integral knife. And I designed the Mark 6 to kind of be a facsimile here, but this is the original design. So let's take a look at some of the unique things. These were things that I came up with on the first Moon tactical folder. This one here, like I said, it's not quite perfect. There's still a few eccentricities about it that I can never really fix, because it's things like, the trough here. You'll notice that the blade is actually totally straight with one side of the trough, but the other side of the trough for the blade is actually a little bit oblong. I can never really fix that. I mean, that's just in the frame. So there are a few things like that that have led me not to release this to the public. But one of the things that was pioneering about this knife at the time, nobody else was doing this, not to my knowledge, although I don't know if Gus Cicchini was doing something similar to this, but this has a removable stop pin and pivot. And most integral frame locks either use a stop pin that's either press fit into the blade, or some kind of regular stop pin up here, or they're using the frame as part of the stop, like the Michael Raymond Estrella. This has an internal stop pin, and this is removable. It's threaded into the frame. It also has a little plate here which acts as an over travel stop. That's actually the tensioning plate for the blade. And when you remove this blade, it actually has 2 pockets for ball bearing thrust bearings on either side of the blade that allow you to put ball bearings into this knife and slip the blade in and out. One of the cool things about the Mark 12 and the original Mark 6, which the Mark 6 of course doesn't have this feature anymore because I'm not making any more Mark 12s, so it doesn't really make much sense to make them reverse compatible, and I was able to get a little extra strength by altering the blade design of the Mark 6. But the original Mark 6 was actually reverse compatible. It actually had a blade that would fit into a Mark 12 chassis, and so because of that they were machined very precisely up here. At least as precise as I could machine them. This one has an S30V blade, which was the original steel for the Mark 12s, and it's a slightly different blade shape. You'll notice it's got kind of a little bit of an angle down because it's got to fit into this smaller handle. And the handle on the Mark 12 is a little bit thinner, it's a little narrower than the Mark 6. You do get a fully integral titanium back, and this is lightened as much as I could. This knife is actually about 5 ounces, so it's very light despite the fact that it has a big titanium handle. One of the things that I've seen some other knife makers do, it doesn't really bother me or anything like that, but I think I was like the first guy to really do this, but it's got a 45-degree lanyard hole in here, which really is the optimal angle for a lanyard to go into this, and also allows the pocket clip to sit a little bit further back on the knife. You know, again, this is made in 2012, so you'll notice the fit and finish is not quite as nice as what it would be if it was made, you know, today. However, it's, I think, still pretty good. Does have generally, I think, a lot of cool features. One of the things that was original to the Mark 12 that has been carried on through all the knives that I've designed is the tapered frames. You'll notice that it tapers quite a lot towards the back, and that's something that I get a lot of good feedback on. A lot of people really like that fact, that it is tapered there. It does have a fairly long trigger on it, which is a little bit longer than a Mark 6. Just a touch, just not that much. And this one here has got an all bead blasted finish on it. So, like I said, it was kind of a phoenix knife for me. It was something that, you know, a lot of people didn't have very much faith in me at the time when I started making these knives. And, you know, part of the reason why I didn't make that many of them was because, frankly, it was really tough to machine them. I was putting, you know, 40 hours into a knife, and at the time I was a full-time student, basically making these on the weekend, and it just really was not practical. And the other thing was I insisted on not taking custom orders for them because I didn't know if I could deliver. I didn't know if I was going to be able to actually get them to work, and I was thinking at the time that they were yielding so few of them that I would never be able to actually deliver enough of these knives to fill up all my custom orders. So like I said, this knife is pretty significant to me. I was finally able to get it to work this afternoon, and it's just been something that's been a bit of a hobby project for me. This knife is pretty special to me, and I don't want to get overly emotional about it because I know it's just a piece of folding metal, and it's sharp at one end and not at the other, but you have to understand, at the time I was going through some really tough stuff personally, and I was doing kind of crappy in school. I was hating everything that I was doing in school, and it was a really tough time for me emotionally, and a really hard time for me in my own personal life. And what this represented to me was an escape from all that. And it was something that I can't quite explain. If you've ever been in this situation, you probably know what I'm talking about, but it was something that was so almost therapeutic to be able to work on this, but at the same time so frustrating. And it was a time when people had very little faith in me, and I had very little faith in myself. And to see this project come together and eventually become commercially successful was something that was very special. So the fact of the matter is, this is the springboard for the Mark 6, and this is what evolved into that. And this one here is one of only a few Mark 12s ever made. It has enormous personal significance to me, this particular knife and this particular model, and it really is a pretty special piece of my life and my history, and I just want to share this with you guys real quick, and you know, maybe bring you guys in on this. It was a tough time. when I first started making these. Like I said, not a lot of people had a lot of faith in me, and I had to sell the design and myself as a designer, and that was pretty tough. It was a hard road, and you know, a lot of guys think that I just kind of popped on the scene, but I really didn't. This was a really tough thing. This knife was a year in development. I spent an entire year, basically, every weekend of that year working on these, and it was really tough. But it finally paid off. This particular design became popular, incarnated as the Mark 6. And then the Mark 7 came after that, and people really liked those too. And here we are at the Mark 10. And that's a pretty darn good design, if I do say so myself. I think you guys are really going to like those. And I just thought that maybe I'd show you the Mark 12 just real quick. This is the original progenitor of the entire Moon Knives folding knife line, and I think it's pretty cool. Thanks for watching, guys. Really appreciate it. If you liked the video, please subscribe to my channel, and I'll see y'all later.